In terms of struggle music, it wasn't just music that was really vocal or in your face. As an example, Abdullah Ibrahim's music was struggle music, but that was jazz played in a very, for the untrained ear, it is very soft, it is very melodic, it is Afro-based. It kind of gives you this feel-good emotion. But interwoven, the artist, the interpretation, the energy, and what goes, what is transmitted from his soul and into the music will drive another person that connects with that towards consciousness and taking the necessary steps that would then kind of lead to becoming proactive or activist within what is regarded as struggle as well. So I think there's over enough struggle music that still exists though. Maybe some people wouldn't preach, but they'll use a different method to get the message across. And I think the age in which we are living right now, you have to be tactical about how you interact with people, especially with youth as well, because they weren't influenced and they didn't grow up in the era or with what we grew up with as well. So we kind of have to use a different approach. It's almost like having to learn a new language, and you have to understand a new demeanor in terms of getting, I hate to say get a message across, but at least to connect and interact with people as well. And the worst thing that you can try and do is try to bestow your will on the next person, because that could potentially turn them away from what you are trying to accomplish as well. So that's why I say you have to be very, very tactical. And yes, the music that doesn't really have any foundation, of course, it's going to override everything else. And that has been the formula since day one, since music went commercial and record labels came on board and they wanted to turn it into a commercial product though. So it's always going to be there. So it just depends on your commitment as the listener or the receiver. You have to look in the right places and you'll actually be overwhelmed by the amount of music that exists that's got a good message.
I'm glad you're saying that, because I felt a bit lost in a way. Because I'm from the 90s, grew up, and I'm longing for that music because it was sold to me in a certain way. Now it's not being sold, but it's still there. It's still there. Because I'm critical, and I shouldn't be that critical really to the scene or to artists that don't sell it that way.
And also with what D is saying, there's actually, if you dig via your digital music platforms, you'll actually find that there's more of that now. There's actually, and not just. I'm talking about on a worldwide scale. From Brazil to Africa to Australia, there's some dope music out there.
Correct.
That speaks to that.
Just to touch on that as well. So far, working at the radio station for all of this time right now, I think we're bordering on 12 years right now. And encountering so many of the artists that have come through the doors and watching their movements and seeing what's happening, I think that Cape Town overall, I would say about 80% of Cape Town hip-hop has got a very strong message, within the music as well, because they still feel, the remnants of the past, and they feel what's going on right now, and I know there are concerns about the future as well. And there's so much that I'm learning, from a lot of the young artists coming through and listening to what they are saying, and I'm going, this brass talking about A, B, C, D, and E. We said that in 1990, Dala Flat. This is like an updated version of Dala Flat, but the circumstances exactly the same. Nothing's changed.
I think youngster gets it perfectly right.
There we go.
We can merge the commercial side
and that.
And I mean on I saw previously a video of him at K-Day where he drops like conscious lyrics, but it's a commercial platform, what I'm saying? He does it.
That's dope.
Flipping great.
But they were called the prophets, eh? Remember? They were called the prophets, and they said the struggle continues. And if you think about it, like you said, it's the more things change, the more they stay the same. So again, when we didn't have the internet and iTunes and Spotify, but the music came out. We found it. They didn't just record and then they were in the Plainsman or in Huisgenoot or in, what is it, the Total Top 20, that show when they performed, and that was like a black presenter, a white presenter, and obviously there was a strategy behind that because we became used to that. Before that, we didn't know that. In my high school, was one color, and I mean, color is not even a thing, but do you know what I mean? It wasn't like mixed like now. So I think the now generation did miss that part. But I guess if you want something, you're gonna go find it, man. Like you said, if someone wants something, and a thing that I was also gonna say is like it's the same with like a couple of years ago. Was it 10 years ago when people said hip hop is dead, and it wasn't dead. It was just like you listening to the wrong music.
Yeah.
Like
I was
it's
one of those
not dead.
people.
I just wanna add on to what you're saying over there, especially as far as breaking goes. I'll never forget this. Wherever we were traveling,
fad.
people was like, this break dancing, are you guys still doing that?
Are you still doing that?
And I'm like, but it hasn't gone anywhere. Maybe elsewhere in the country, or maybe in your hood, or wherever you are based, it doesn't exist. But where I come from, it's just growing.
It's
And it's hard to articulate that. And now, I would say, look at us now. Now we have BC1. We are now making moves into world stages. Brands are still, dependent on the culture to at least give them some type of credibility or to give them presence. And now breaking, which is a part of hip hop culture, is now going to be getting a position at the Olympics.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how crazy
Love
is
it.
that? So that kind of goes to what everybody's saying around the table about digging and finding what you're looking for. Just don't look at things at what you see on a surface level, because it's very deceiving. It's extremely deceiving, and we know for whatever reason certain platforms will not give what you are looking for outright because they need to make money. Everything is built on commercialism as well. So they'll push that agenda, then rather push a different agenda, because if you are kept ignorant, right, it means that you will be a great contributor to the capitalist machine that exists.
Sure.
But if you are intelligent and you are enlightened, it's then a problem, because you will then be able to become independent and you will be able to empower yourself, your household, your community, your country, and then you'll be able to see through all the BS that the capitalist society, not everything within capitalism is bad, but you'll be able to see all the bad stuff that exists, and that is dangerous to such a system. Right
Sure.
there.
Clip that. Clip that.
Yo, is het been 84?